afternoon to everyone. So today we are going to present on Facebook's expansion to China. I myself, Mirosha, Ho Wan Ying, Anusha, Shamini, and Nitya. So the approach that we have decided to use is polycentric approach. So polycentric approach is basically when a host country nationals are recruited for managerial positions to carry out operations. Locals know their culture better and they can run the business efficiently with training provided. So what we're going to do is we're going to send a group of personals from Facebook HQ to China to help and train them to qualify we're going to train them to fit the needs of the job. So why we decided to choose this approach is because the hiring of locals of the host country is less expensive. So instead of, because the expats rate is high, the failure rate is high, we have decided to train locals and use them so that since they know their culture well and we will not possibly have too many problems. And it also opens up job opportunities for locals because currently there's a lot of companies from outside companies coming into China, but they are hiring only expats. They're not hiring Chinese locals, so it's a growing concern for their country. So this allows to open new job opportunities for the locals. So the recruitment process. First, we'll be identifying vacancies that needs to be filled. We will be identifying job analysis. This is to identify, analyze, and determine the duties, responsibilities, skills, and abilities that we need. To identify job descriptions is to analyze job roles, responsibility, and position of jobs. These details is needed to hire the right person to fulfill the right position. So if a position of example, head of human resource needs to be filled, we need to make sure they have the right training for it. We also will have to identify job specification. This is focused on those who is going to be hired. To identify physical, mental, emotional, and behavioral specification. We need to make sure that one person has all the abilities to fit the correct position so that we won't have any issues since we will be monitoring from HQ. The types of selection method that we'll be using is, we are going to use Headhunter. Because Facebook is such a big company and we want to make sure it's successful in China, since Facebook in China has not started on the good terms, so we have decided to get a Headhunter service to help us find the right employees, those who have good experience and those who knows their job. This is also another type of service that most companies in China is using currently. We will also need to process candidate CV. And firstly, we will start with a telephone interview because that is common interview selection process for any job interview. This will allow us to segregate those who can speak the language, those who understands what we're speaking so that we won't have any communication issues. Next, we will carry out a face-to-face interview. This interview will be conducted by employees from the Facebook headquarters. It will be followed by a case study. This case study is designed for the purpose of to identify who can solve an issue, a critical issue. For an example, if we do not have any personnel from HQ to help them out, they need to be ready to face those kind of issues. So this case study is going to help us figure out who can do that. Finally, we will offer the employment to the candidate because some of the successful employees in China, they all don't accept the job offer just because they have gone through the interview process, because they are also quite particular about the company's background, culture, and everything. So next Anusha will be explaining about the practices in China.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the successes in China. So firstly, people in China, they usually give respect to elders and also their higher ranking officers. And secondly is about the group oriented, where people in China, they usually work in a group whenever they have a task. Okay, the third point is about punctuality. So being punctual to an event or meeting, you call that, okay, it's, how to say, okay, it shows respect. And being late to an event, it shows rudeness of a person. Okay, and they also believe in Guanzi and Yanzi, which Guanzi means relationship network. So in business world, I think relationship between the customers and your clients is very important. And the last point is, so during meeting, they usually start with a handshake and a little light handshake, a little head nod. Okay, and I'll pass my slide to Shamini.
I would like to talk about the theory of culture differences in China. Power distance is distributed unequally in China, as we know that the leaders don't, the power is not distributed equally. They have some people who have less work. Sorry, it's not distributed equally, and they are very group oriented. They don't work individually. They always work in group. Individuals are influenced by their former. Uncertain environments in society they are more socialized. They believe from their culture more and they are ambitious more. The local laws, as we know that in China, they have, in every country they have their own local law of the employee. In China, their labor must have a day off every week. As we know, in Malaysia also they have the local, they have the law, and they have more maternity leave in China, which is 90 days. Laborers who had worked for 1 year should be paid vacation. That is very important in China, and most of the companies doesn't does that. But in China, it is a important law for them. They have retirement policy in China, as everyone after their retirement they have basic pension system in China. That is local laws, which is important for the employees. I'll pass. I'll pass my next slide.
As for the similarities for here, US and China, as you can see here, both countries are practicing an external method to recruit, where they'll find the headhunters and analyze which employee is the best to work in the company. As also, they will post their vacancies to social websites such as 51job.com and chinahr.com. Like as you can see here in Malaysia, they have like LinkedIn, Monster, and something like that. So they practices the same way to recruit the staff. And they also have pop-up ads like in most of the websites in China and US, where it will be easy for the employees to apply for a job. Moreover, they're also using online tools as press, advertising, online recruitment, pop-up ads, and also the recruitment through the recruitment agency, where the company will hire a specific recruitment agency to find out where they can find the employees that they want. Next, they're also doing an on-job training based on their employees' skills, knowledge, and also attitudes based on their personalities, like are they applicable for the job that they are finding for. That's our plans.
Now we will talk about the differences of recruitment process and also their selection method between US and also China. As you can see in US HQ, their process is much more longer and is much more takes more time. But in China, it is much more shorter and it takes shorter time to complete it. This is because US very focused on the quality of the employee, and they really particular in getting the right candidates for the right position. And firstly, their selection method is usually common in using reference, application form, structured interview, psychometric test, and also assessment center. Firstly, they will go through their reference and also the form. After that is telephone interview, psychometric test. Psychometric test is a method that is very reliable source as to get the reliable results. And this is to measure the candidates' intelligence, skills, and also their personality. For their structured interview, it is much more on preset question and also standardized question before the interview started. And for the assessment center, it is very widely used in US as assessment center helps to get a different for a group of applicants. It actually save time for them if there is a lot of applicants. And for assessment center is focused on the group studies, a group case study, and also their presentation. It's much more critical case study to evaluate their candidates' performance and to ensure that they get the right candidates for their position. And for China, their selection method is shorter. They usually get for the application form reference and also interview for it. And they also have a paper test. It is much more on knowledge base and also to evaluate their knowledge and also their academic base. And they got the unstructured interview. It is much more informal, but this is based on their application, their applicants' response to get the results. And this is a much more traditional for external application. And there is no assessment center because it involves a lot of cost to do it. And this is quite a new instrument tools for China people to do it. So there is no widely used in this method. So this is the reference list we use and the end of